Are you looking for inspiration on a daily basis? Well, check out Deal to Heal Teas. With our inspirational teas, you're sure to find something that will inspire you. Just go to dealtohealteas.myshopify.com. That's Deal to Heal Teas. Put some inspiration in your situation. Wear inspirational tea and be inspired all day. That's Deal to Heal Teas at dealtohealteas.myshopify.com. Hey guys, this is Ernest James, host of the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast, and I got a question to ask you. Could you buy me a cheeseburger? Better yet, could you buy me a value meal? Yes? Well, guess what? I don't need a value meal. However, for the cost of a value meal, you can support this podcast to keep us on the air. Just go to Patreon/Deal to Heal podcast and choose any one of the 3 tiers that's available. And if you just want to make a one-time donation, go to Cash App and make a donation to $eJames, the number 418. Make a one-time donation to the Cash App, or again, go to Patreon to support this podcast and keep us on the air. Thanks in advance. Be blessed. Welcome to Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. On this podcast, my guest and I will discuss topics and ways to help us to heal in every area of our lives. I believe that everyone can live a life that is happy, healthy, and whole. So I'm on a mission to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill. Deal with your problem, heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get to it. Welcome. This is the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. I'm your host, Ernest James, aka Friend to Fatherless Daughters on Instagram. And I believe that everyone can and should live a life that is whole, healed, and healthy. And therefore, I'm on a mission to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill, to deal with your problems, to heal from the pain, and to fulfill your purpose. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode. In case you haven't, please take your time, listen, like, subscribe, and share definitely to our YouTube channel. We're trying to get those membership, get those subscribers up. And even on Facebook and Instagram, you can find us. We are even on TikTok. So make sure y'all hit us up in our social media outlets and follow the podcast. And so we're going to get right into it today. Just like any other day, we are blessed with a guest. Today, we got my man, Mr. Andre Notice. How are you, sir?
Man, I am happy, healthy, and wealthy, my brother.
Man, I like that. I like that, man. Hey, so first of all, let me say thank you for being on, taking out your time to be here, because I know you could be anywhere else, but you took your time out to spend some of your time with myself and my listeners, and I definitely appreciate having you on.
Thanks for having me, my brother. I'm glad to be here.
All right. So we're going to jump right into it. So, Mr. Andre, please introduce yourself to our listeners and tell us exactly what it is that you do.
Cool, not a problem. Well, as for me, I am the rhyming realtor for your dream home when you need to buy or sell. I am the purpose coach for those that feel like they're going through hell. I am the speaker here to motivate, encourage, and inspire. I'm a poet as well. Grab the mic to spit bars of fire. The book that I wrote, it's changing lives as well. A servant is what I am, on a mission to serve, not sell. When it's all said and done, I help others reach their full potential. By helping them find their purpose, to find true joy, it is essential. Andre Notice is my name, and inspiration is who I be. It's true, I live to give, and you will notice me.
Okay. I don't know if I should snap, clap. I don't know what to do now. That's all good. But hey, so you hit on a lot of things, right? And I definitely want to jump into some of those things. But before we get started, I know you're a coach, and I also know that those of us that are in this line of work, there is a story behind how we got into it or why we got into it. So what would be a little bit of your story that led you to become the Andre Notice that we know you are today?
Hardship, frustration, failure, denial, heartbreak, discouragement, depression, stressed out, you name it. I've been through it. Sleeping in my car, going home to home, sleeping on couches, sleeping on floors, just trying to figure it out on my way. And when I finally did start to accumulate some level of stability, some level of success, through the hardship that I've endured, I was able to accumulate with it a lot of knowledge, a lot of wisdom, not only through my experiences, but also through my study. And I realized that a lot of people will go through life and they would be asking all these questions. And I realized that I had the answer to a lot of people's questions. And I realized that when I started to speak, people start to listen. And I realized that even when I wasn't trying to, I was empowering, encouraging, inspiring other individuals without even trying. I was literally just being myself after I had went through the heartbreak. So when I realized that this was actually a thing, and when I realized that others were drawn to what I had said, when I realized that people were opening up to me about things in their own personal lives that they wouldn't open up to others, there was something going on right there. And God revealed to me my purpose, and my purpose is to help others find theirs. And I am here to educate, empower, enlighten, and edify. And that's what I do through coaching, through speaking, through teaching, and even through poetry. And I'm glad to be here doing that.
Man, okay. So you hit on a couple of things that you mentioned, and one of the things that I've heard that's kind of a theme in it with some of the things that you do, poet, speaker, coach, is you said you motivate people and you speak to people and they listen. And so as a writer and a speaker myself, definitely as a podcast host and things like that, one of the things that I definitely know is that there's power in our words, right? There's power in the words that we speak. So when we speak life into other people, there's a power that comes with that. It's kind of twofold, because when we speak to other people, it's like we're speaking to ourselves at the same time.
Agreed.
And so one of the biggest things that I've learned, that if you really want to learn something, teach it to somebody else.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? And so as you begin to talk to someone else and explain to someone else how to, get over something or to, break through something, those same words feed back into yourself.
Agreed.
You're actually strengthening yourself as you're strengthening someone else.
True story.
So what would be something, if you agree with me with that, I believe you do, just a little bit from your point of view, what would you say is the effect of the power of your words when you're speaking life into somebody?
So death and life are in the power of the tongue. And then I heard a scripture or a verse that says faith comes by hearing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if you take a look at individuals where they are right now, whether they're 30, 40, 50, 60, you can talk to some individuals that can tell you right now that the things that their parents or their teachers or outside influences have told them from childhood still have an effect on them now, 30, 40, 50 years later. So if you can tell a child something multiple times and it still has effect 30, 40, 50 years down the road, then that's just a small area that actually shows us how powerful our words really are. So if they can impact us that much negatively, then why wouldn't they impact us just as much positively? So I really believe that everything that comes out of your mouth is an affirmation, and you can use your words to speak life, or you can use your words to speak death, but there is no in between. So I choose to make sure that I'm very cognizant and very cautious and very careful to every word that comes out of my mouth, even jokingly.
Yeah, and I think that's a big thing, especially like you said, jokingly, because sometimes we don't really think about what we're saying, and even when we're uh, trying to be funny, or there's certain things that we say, even the songs that we sing. I remember my uncle used to always say, "You can sing a lie better than you can tell one." And some of us, if we think about some of the songs that we sing, let's just say a love song for real, and to some people may not even be interested in being in love, but they'll sing
Right.
a song in a second. You know what I
Right.
mean? Even though they don't live by those words. And I think one
Right.
song that I always come to my mind was DMX song, "Y'all Gonna Make Me Lose My Mind," that whole little thing. And it was like, yeah, you don't really want to be singing that. You don't want to be speaking those words. I know it's catchy. I know it sounds good, whatever. But when you're intentional about the words that you speak, like you said, then you caution yourself about the things that you speak over your own life, and also the things that you speak, over other people's lives. And everybody don't quite understand that. I think there's a mindset that you have, that you have to get into and learn to be able to, think about those things. And I know in the last couple of years, I've been getting into more into self-development and that whole space, and learning more about myself, and the way that I think and the way that I act and behave. And I think that everyone should take some personal development classes, and it definitely will help you understand yourself a little more, and understand how you relate to other people. Because it takes a different kind of mindset to go from where you are to where you want to be. And I think that there's um, a part of you that is the link between the person you are now and the person you have to be, or the person that you're trying to be, or the place that you're trying to be. There's a part of you that's that link in between the two, but a lot of the times that little space is broken, and so you have to fix it in order to go to that next level, and then that takes a different type of mindset. So if you were talking to someone and even speaking on mindset, especially when it comes to helping someone find their purpose, because I think a lot of times, a lot of us get so bogged down with, depression and with the things that we're going through currently, that it's hard for them to see where they could be, or it's hard for them to see the direction that they're trying to go to. So if you're speaking to someone right now about, learning to change that mindset, what would be something that you would encourage them to do to kind of bridge from where they are now to getting to their purpose?
That's a great question. So there are a couple of things. The very first thing I would say is, um, to be successful, I strongly believe that the very first ingredient to success, in my personal opinion, is desire. You have to want it bad enough. Because if you
Yeah.
don't want it bad enough, you're not going to go through the hurt. You're not going to go through the pain. You're not going to go through the obstacles that are bound to come your way. So for that individual, I would say, how bad. The first question I would ask is, how bad do you want it? Whatever it is that you want. And then I would ask them, well, what is it that you want specifically? And the reason why I say specifically is because I strongly believe that most people in life don't get what they want, not because they can't have it. It's because they don't know what it is specifically. So I remember hearing this story of a young lady, and she had just heard about the power of visualization and the power of manifestation. So she would sit and she would visualize herself counting money. She would count all these dollar bills, counting money. And over time, as she continued to visualize, she manifested counting money as working as a bank teller. You get it? She was
Yeah, yeah.
visualizing counting money, but it wasn't her own money.
Right. It wasn't her money.
She was
Okay, I
counting
got it.
somebody else's money, because she visualized counting money, but she wasn't specific to the fact and to the degree that it was her money. and how much she wanted. So most people don't take the time out to write down specifically what it is that they want. So I say think it, then ink it. You have to know specifically what it is that you want. Once you have that goal, you write it, you recite it, and then you ignite it. So you write down specifically what it's supposed to look like. Then you recite it. You say it out loud. And when you say it, you don't just say, I will have. You say, I am. Everything that you say that you want, you put it in the I am formation. So I am 205 pounds now. Whatever it is that you want. I am driving a 2022 Mercedes E-Class, whatever. I am, because you're putting things into the present tense. So you write it, you recite it, and you ignite it. You ignite it by taking one step towards what you feel you should do to the achievement of your goal. It's true you don't know all the steps. It's okay. You don't need to know all the steps. If I gave you the directions or the address to my house, and you put those directions into your GPS, and you turn your car on and it's nighttime, you can't see my house from your driveway. Mm-hmm. All you see is the few 20 or 30 feet that your headlights will allow you to be able to see. But as you keep driving, as you keep going, more along the way gets revealed to you as you take that first step. It's the same way in life. All you do is start taking that first step, and then the rest will be revealed to you as you move left foot, right foot on towards your goal.
Man, I like that. I like that what you said, and I agree with you. One of the things that you said about the first question that you asked would be, what is it that you want, or how do you really want it? But what is it that you want? Also with the follow-up question, because I think that's a big thing with people, that they don't really know what they want. And when they take the time to figure that out, you realize that sometimes what you think you want, you really don't want. You know what I'm saying? But you don't know that until you go through that process of really breaking down exactly what it is that you want and why you want it. Because sometimes you may want something, but the reason why you want it may not be strong enough to you, or what it's going to take to get it, may not be strong enough to you. I remember hearing someone speak about they're a millionaire right now, but they were saying that they were saying they wanted to be a billionaire, but when they sat down and thought about it and thought about how much work it went into becoming a billionaire and the reason why they wanted to actually be a billionaire, they realized that they didn't want to be a billionaire. They was like, it's too much work, you know what I'm saying? And, the reason behind it for them at that time was just really for clout, just to say that I am a billionaire. And it was like, to put in that much work that it takes to become a billionaire, just to say you that, they realized that that was something they didn't even want, and so they, threw that away altogether. But, I'm sure all of us would love to be in that position of being a millionaire and thinking about whether we want to be a billionaire. But to break it down on to our regular everyday level, there are things that we think we want to be or become, even if we think about just work. I remember at one time when I was younger, I wanted to be a firefighter. That was like, one of my things when I was younger, like, man, I want to be a firefighter. Well, when I got older and had my first hot flash, I realized that wasn't going to work. You know what I mean? Because I can't take that kind of heat. So I was like, yeah, about that. You know what I mean? But until we think about those things, until we go through those experiences and take our time to really think about what is it that we really want, then we're kind of left out blowing in the wind because we don't know the answer to that question. Not on a deeper level. We know it on a surface level, but not on a deeper level. And I think that goes definitely into our relationships, even with the kind of person that we say we want. I want this person that looks like this and shaped like this and all of that. but then you get that person and realize you don't want the attention that comes with that person. You know what I mean? Or you don't want the attention that they get, that comes with them. It's like, yeah, I don't need that headache, but until we take the time to, think about those things, I think we all, are kind of lost in that space of not really knowing what it is that we want.
Yep. I agree, my brother. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. One of the other things I wanted to talk to you, I know you mentioned it a minute ago, was your book. What is the name of the book? I know you showed it. I couldn't really see it, but
yeah, Your Purpose Is Not For You is the name of the book.
Oh, I like that. Because one of the things that I've learned recently is, God gives us a choice sort of when we're going through something. And the choice is whether we're going to be a victor over that situation or a victim. Yeah. And those of us who come out on the other side of being a victor, then he puts on us the responsibility of going back and helping the victims. And so that kind of reflects, like you said with your book, that the things, our purpose is not for us. It's for those that we are meant to help. So how did you come up with that name and that concept? Because I think it's right on point.
To be honest, I didn't. That was God given to me like 6 years ago. And the book wasn't written until last year. So I literally can't say that I took the credit for the title of the book, because I didn't.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, cool. That's real. Cool. It wasn't me. That was a God-given title.
Yeah, well, it sounds like it, because it's right on point. And, one of the things that God gave me, and I mentioned it a lot on the podcast a couple of years ago when I was going through my own journey myself of finding my own purpose and finding my own voice. One of the things that he gave me was a quote, and the quote says that pain births purpose, and purpose births progress, and progress is the evidence that God is at work. And so I live by that, and even this podcast is a testimony to that, because when I first came on Instagram and started one of my first pages on Instagram, it was a male mentoring program. And so that's why I came to Instagram, and I was doing that. And in the midst of that, I started having some issues in my marriage. I tell this whole long story. I started having issues in my marriage. And in the midst of us working that out, I realized that the issues that I was having came from the difference in upbringing between my wife and I, because I came from a 2-parent household. She came from a single mother household. And so she was a fatherless daughter. And so coming through that situation and even thinking about it, I realized that every woman I had ever dated was a fatherless daughter, And so once I realized that, I started thinking about it. And so I went to went to Instagram, and just to voice my, thoughts on that from a male's perspective. And it took off by itself, it just kind of took off. And so again, going back to what God gave me, that progress is the evidence that God is at work. And so I started working with that. And from that, I was asked to be on several podcasts, just as much as last year. I think I was on 6 or 7 podcasts last year. And one of those podcasts, the host, we began to talk after the fact, and he was like, you need to have your own podcast, and so that kind of birthed that idea. And then fast forward, here we are now, and so all of that came from the pain that I was having in my marriage, but that pain bursts a purpose in me, and the progress is in the pudding. You see how it's moved along to the fact that I'm sitting here with you, and so I think that, God gave that to me, but I think that's definitely as a reflection, even with your book and even with that title, to give that to you, then now you are able to use your experiences and begin to walk people through, through the steps within your book to tell that story, to get them to where they're trying to get to.
Absolutely. Allow your pain to push you to your purpose. 100% accurate, my brother. And it's one of those things to where you really have to um, you really have to take an account on what it is that you're going through and understand that, hey, this, I can look at this as an obstacle, or I can look at this as a learning experience. So you never really lose, you learn.
Right.
If you look at it from that perspective, everything is all perspective. It all comes down to how you look at things. And we all have a story to tell. So when I was going through my tough time, I just kept reminding myself, hey, this is just a part of my story. There will be a time where I'll be able to sit on stages and platforms and be able to tell people about these times. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of it, when you're able to see that, because not everybody goes through, go through something and comes out, or not even come out, but even in the midst of them being in it, not a lot of people are able to see it. You know what I mean? And sometimes we go through some things, and there are people that's connected to us that's kind of collateral damage in the midst of what you're going through, because you might find purpose in it, but they're connected to you and they might not have that same purpose. So they're
Right.
kind of collateral damage, and I'll be transparent a little myself. Some years ago, my mother-in-law at the time passed away from cancer. And then 3 years after that, my mom passed away from cancer. And so going through those two deaths, I started a nonprofit organization which dealt with bereavement, in the Black community, and that came out of that. From that pain came that. Well, that purpose was birthed out of that experience for me. But unfortunately, some of my loved ones, including my sisters and brothers, were kind of collateral damage to go through that same, that same experience, but not come out on the other side with the same purpose. And I think God chooses those of us who He wants to carry a certain torch. He chooses those of us who are able to come through and get through to the other side, and then charges us with the responsibility of going back and helping those that are still going through it. And so, I'm very open about some of the things that I've been through. I know you mentioned depression earlier, and definitely during that time period, when my mom passed away, I went through depression. I thought about committing suicide. I was in debt. I went through a divorce at the same time, and I'm very open about talking about it because I want it to become normal. I want it to be a normal conversation, especially amongst men, that when we're going through something, it's okay for us to open up and have these, discussions about what we're going through. Because a lot of times, not just men in general, but just people in general, when we hold stuff in, it's only going to stay in for so long. And some kind of way is going to come out. So it's a lot of times it come out in your health. People have strokes, they have, heart attacks, or sometimes it comes out, in illness, within your body and things like that. So I'm very cautious about, making sure I speak on things and very open about my experiences. And I'm guessing definitely with you being a speaker, you're definitely I would believe are also open about your experiences. And how do you think, sharing your experiences and definitely with other men, how do you think that affects them, and does that always end up opening up a door for them to share more with you?
Yeah, man, it's healing and it's inspiring to other individuals. I have guys and girls come at me all the time, whether it be on social media, seeing me in person, all the time, saying that my story and what I've been through and where I am right now is extremely empowering and extremely inspiring. And they also tell me that because of what I went through and because of what I share, it gives them the power and the encouragement to keep going with what they have going on in their own personal lives. And for me, that's like, man, that's what more can I really ask for? You hope that the words that come out of your mouth touch somebody. So to hear that it did,
Definitely.
and that somebody's encouraged by it, blessed by it, and is able to take their life into a new direction because of it, that's the greatest gift there can be for a speaker. So I'm grateful to hear it. So yeah, it definitely does help a lot of individuals out, and I love to hear. I never get enough of hearing how my words, thoughts, experiences has helped somebody else along their journey.
Yeah, and I know that you definitely have an effect, because even with our conversation, this is our first time talking. I have watched some of your videos and stuff, on Instagram and stuff, but this is our first time talking, and I'm definitely inspired by some of the things that I've heard you say, just in these couple minutes that we've been talking. And so also, I know you have a coaching program. So not only do you speak, and not only are you an author, but you're also a coach. So tell us a little bit about your program, and how do you use that to help other people?
Yeah, man. So I help frustrated, unfulfilled, unhappy employees pinpoint their passion and purpose and position themselves for profit. So, in short, I help employees become entrepreneurs, but I focus on them, helping them, showing how to manifest, how to have the mindset, and how to map out a plan to make that transition. So those individuals that are working for somebody else, but they have a goal, idea, a dream to work for themselves, I show you how to get that done. And we talk about, it's a whole, it's a thing to where I'm not just giving you information and giving you ideas and giving you resources and platforms. We actually have discussions, and there are times where I'm asking you to write this down, to do this, and it's engaging. And we do it on a 5 to 6 week program, once a week via Zoom, and it's a great time. We just allow ourselves to learn and grow from each other, and at the end of it, you know what needs to be done for you to make that transition. And I really believe that a lot of times, most of the time, fear, and it comes from the lack of knowledge. So once you have more knowledge, you're more confident about what it is that needs to be done. Not saying that the fear is going to be completely eradicated, because it won't be. Taking a leap of faith is going to be, is going to have a nervous effect. But now, if it was a level 10, now it's a level 4 or 3, because you know what needs to be done. Just a matter of you doing it. And that's what my
Right.
program is about.
Yeah, and I love that, and I definitely think that entrepreneurship is the way to go. Um, Not necessarily telling anybody to quit their job, but you definitely, if the pandemic has showed us anything, it showed that you need to have your own something.
Well,
You
you
know
got
what I
to have
mean?
multiple streams of income. As for my,
Definitely.
yeah, as for myself, I'm working on this year. I have 8 to 10 by the end of the year. So,
Okay,
because
eight
I'm
to
also
ten. That's
I'm a full time real estate agent. I've been doing real estate for 10 years full time. I have like 4 or 5 deals under contract right now, and I'm working on a few others. So I do that as well. So I'm working on multiple streams of income, because I have a goal. I have a why. My goal is to retire my mother. You know, you have to have a reason, a why for what it is that you're doing, as you spoke on earlier. But your why has to be bigger than you.
hmm
And once you have that why, and you hold it before you, and you look at it every day, you have a reason to get up and to chase what it is that you're chasing. And don't just do it for yourself. Do it for those that are around you and before you.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm definitely working on my streams. You know what I mean? But and one of them that I'm working on right now is writing my first full book. I've written 3 ebooks, but I'm working on writing my first full book. And one of the things that I talk about even in that is, you know um like we talked about, finding your why, and I refer to it as RFR, which is your reason for rising. What is the reason you get up in the morning? What is the reason that you go to work? What is the reason that you're pressing for whatever that goal is? And like you said, it has to be more than about you, because if it's only about you, then you'll give yourself an excuse when it starts getting hard. Man, I'm tired. I don't feel like doing it, whatever. And if it's just about you, you'll be like, yeah, you're right. I am tired. Let me go lay down. But if your why is bigger than you, let's say you got a child, that child can't eat, I'm tired. You know what I mean? That child can't eat, I don't feel like it. And so when you get to those times that, you are tired and you don't feel like it, but you realize that your why is to make things happen for your child, then that gives you another boost of energy and boost of strength to keep on pressing through. So I think that's a big thing that people don't know what their why is, or their why is so small it stops at them, So I think they just need to be opened up, to a whole nother thing, let people know that it's a whole nother level. And definitely, again, going back to entrepreneurship, I think that's the way to go. And I've been in entrepreneurship on some level for a while. I started when I was young, real young. My mom and them started us with selling candy and elevated to t-shirts and banks and all kind of, little different things that we used to sell growing up. And that was my first, introduction to entrepreneurship. And now at this space I am now, definitely getting back into it, to get them streams of income. I'm working on it. So hopefully by the end, I ain't even gonna say hopefully, by the end of this year, I will have about at least three by the end of this year. And I'm working. I got some things moving right now, and it's a blessing to do that. So yeah, I'm glad to hear you say that, and I'm glad to hear that you help people to get to that next level. Andre, I've definitely enjoyed having you on. I'm gonna let you have the last word or words. You know what I'm saying? In case it's something that you want to expound on us, or just something you want to leave, the listeners with, at your discretion, whatever it is. But definitely let us know where we can find you at, where they can, hook up with you to take advantage of, to buy your book or to enroll in your coaching program. So I'll let you give that, and then whatever last words or additional words you want to throw out there. So the flow is yours.
Great. I'm really easy to find. Andre Notice is my name. Notice is my real last name. It is not a marketing gimmick. I get that all the time. You can Google me, Andre Notice, and you can go to andrenotice.com. From there, you will see my website to my book. You will see my social medias. You will see my publications. It's all on andrenotice.com. So I'm extremely easy to find. You will notice me is my hashtag, as well as my Instagram handle. You can find me there as well. And I just want to say that, God himself is a success. So if God himself is a success, he cannot make something that is unsuccessful, which means that you were designed to succeed. If you're not succeeding, God is not to blame. You have the capability. The word says that I gave you the ability to create wealth. Oftentimes when we think we're waiting on God, God is waiting on us. Life in one word is love. And the best way to show love is to give. Therefore, I live to give. If you want to make $100, help 100 million people.
And that's it. Can't get no better than that, man. Man, Andre, thank you very much again for being on, man. I'm definitely going to hit you up so I can get my copy of the book. And I encourage all of our listeners definitely to also reach out to you to get that copy of the book. Definitely. We'll make sure we put the details and the link and the details of the show. Again, Andre, thank you so much for being on. You guys, listeners, thank you guys for joining us for this episode of the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. And remember, our mission is to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill, to deal with your problems, to heal from the pain, and to fulfill your purpose. So thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you listen, like, subscribe, and share definitely to our YouTube page so we can get those numbers up. Until next time, we will see you guys next week. All right. Be blessed. Hey guys, I know you're enjoying the podcast. However, don't forget to join our text line at 866-326-0730. That's 866-326-0730 in order to receive text messages with new events and things that is going on and new episodes as they release. All right, see you in a minute. Thanks for listening to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. Remember to listen, like, subscribe, and share. This episode has been brought to you by Deal to Heal Teas. Put some inspiration in your situation. Wear an inspirational tea and be inspired all day. Let's go to dealtohealteas.myshopify.com. Remember, our mission is to help you to deal, heal, and fulfill. Deal with your problem, heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. Thanks for listening.